That's not a lot, right? Just a little bit. Welcome back. Let's talk today about where to buy glasses. And this is a topic that comes up frequently and I discuss in a post on the website linked below in a lot more detail than we're covering in this video, because there's links to stuff and there's various details and calculations and lens qualities and things. So if you want more detail, check out the post below. This is a short version for where you want to go if you're buying glasses yourself. And first of all, obviously, the option is to buy online or to buy at local retail. And a lot of the participants in our group and the forum and in Back to 2020 are buying glasses online, frankly, because it's a lot cheaper and you get a fair amount less hassle than buying it in a local retail shop. I personally like to buy in the local retail shop, mainly because I can try on frames for my weird face. That makes a pretty big difference. And also they have high quality test lens kit, they have good measuring equipment. If your local optometrist is supportive, which if you check in the Facebook forum, people have found a fair amount of optometrists will actually help them. So if you have high astigmatism and you're trying to figure out how much astigmatism correction you need for close-up, which is usually less than for distance, having a test lens kit is awesome, right? If you're trying to adjust your diopter ratio, reducing that ratio, test lens kit is incredibly handy. If somebody's supportive who has a lot more experience with measuring and has a lot more expensive equipment, it can be useful. It's often used against you when you just stop into any retail shop and you're being sold $200, $300, $500 pairs of glasses. But if somebody's working with you and this equipment is used for your benefit with your informed consent for what you want, I like having a local shop. I also like supporting local business. I don't love the internet. I don't love the idea like Zenny and all those things, like some random owner that you don't know makes all the money selling stuff online. Meanwhile, all of us, what are we doing, right? Like, it's the network of local businesses. Maybe I'm a weird hippie, but I prefer to walk into a place, guy who owns it, who makes a living off of it, supports his family, have a positive interaction with him, use his quality equipment, try on lenses, have him cut the lenses for me being able to try it on, making sure that what we came up with actually works in real life. If it doesn't, it can be tweaked right then and there. If the frame doesn't fit quite right, it can be tweaked right then and there. I think there's a lot of benefit in having somebody local working with you. The key aspect there is working with you. And what I describe in the post below on the website is it takes time and effort sometimes to find somebody to work with you. If you're getting lucky, you find somebody who's heard of Endmyopia or is familiar with the general premise of minus lenses causing progressive myopia and tries to help out, those people are fantastic to begin with. Sometimes it takes looking around. Back in my day when I was doing this, I would, especially if I was in bigger towns, I would go around, I would literally have donuts and coffee and go to shops at 11 in the morning when they've already been open long enough to do inventory and whatever else, but there's not really any customers there. They still want coffee, they still want sugar, and then basically bribe them with coffee and donuts. And then if necessary, explain to them my headaches, right? For close-up, I need lower correction glasses. I've always had problems with my astigmatism. Can we use your test lens kit? And then work out, especially if I am able to establish a relationship with them, work out a deal, right? Like, that's really the big thing, because the main issue is profit retail prices on lenses are insane, right? Like, also in the post below, the wholesale cost of a high quality pair of lenses with all the coatings is like $1.50, US $1.50. So whatever they charge you that's more than $10, right? Like, they're making 10 times gross profit on those lenses. Of course, they have overhead and they have staff and they have rent and they have all that other stuff. You have to realize local retail is a lot more expensive than internet sales, but $200 pair of glasses, highly questionable. So again, this takes a little social engineering a lot of times. Like, I would talk to people and I'd say, look, I'm on this weird journey of reducing my eyesight. I started with -5, dropped to -3. That didn't work out too well. But that whole journey was a lot of reductions. So I would explain to the optometrist who is supportive and doesn't, the disclaimer, right? Like they're taking no responsibilities, that I'm going to be buying 2 pairs of glasses from them every few months. And I was buying a lot more because I was experimenting, which you shouldn't. 2 every 3 to 4 months is the right amount. And then work out a deal. And I travel a lot, I move a lot, so I was able to work out some deals with some people who were open-minded and not with others. There was no online buying at the time, so this was my only option. The main reason I did this was my only option. But with it, right, like if you're paying $25 for online pair of glasses and $50 for a retail pair of glasses, that $25 goes towards you having access to a good test lens kit, to you being able to try on frames, to you having glasses cut locally, to being able to try them on. Is that worth the extra $25? Now, if it's $25 online and $300 in the store, may become a different story. But generally speaking, think of how much extra would you be willing to spend to get local support if you find somebody who's willing to obviously provide that support. Another option is in various countries, sorry, still sick in the jungle. In Germany, I used to go to a company called Fielmann, a local big chain in Germany. They would take raw lenses. Like I would buy lenses on eBay in the later years of my progress that are raw lenses, that are basically the round lenses that aren't cut with the diopters that I'd want. I buy a pair of those because, for example, like transitions lenses, the photochromic lenses that automatically tint when it gets sunny outside, love those lenses, would be super expensive at retail, right? Like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. $60, $70 on a pair of glasses that otherwise at retail previously had spent $500, $600, $700 on with the transitions coating. So this takes a little doing, but for example, the Fielmann thing was fantastic, and there's several times I traveled to Germany from Asia, not only for that, but that was a notable part of my travel plan, is to be able to get glasses. Basically, the buying glasses there would pay for my trip over being able to get the transitions lenses at retail elsewhere. Like, it's really a fantastic deal. There's other things like that. You do have to go to chains. You do have to check around. I don't know if today you can still buy raw uncut lenses on eBay. I imagine you probably could. And then you have to check around, ask shops. Maybe chain shops are better than the single place local shop, because a local shop is counting a lot more on the profit from the individual lens sale, and they may take more offense to it. Like, imagine small business owner, like, you don't want to cut him out of the profit, right? Like, he needs to make money to live. So that may be a little bit of a tougher thing. I used to like chains for this kind of discussion because people there are just employees, they don't care, right? Like, I walk in with a packet of uncut lenses and be like, would you cut these in a pair of frames if I buy them from you? And a lot of places, not a lot of places, but some places would say yes. Policy question, of course. That's how I found the Fielmann option. And it gives you a lot more choices. Like, if you get nerdy about lenses, ABI values, if you want to look that up, BBE values of different types of lenses vary. There's all kinds of fancy tech, a lot of it unnecessary, but if you buy those at retail, the markups are intense. So in many of those cases, you're better off buying them wholesale, getting them off eBay, specialized lenses, the photochromic coatings, any of that stuff, usually better to buy separately and then have fitted by somebody. Now, the current option, the lazy option, the easy option is to buy online. Don't love it. I don't love getting glasses from China. I don't love hoping for the best for frames, maybe just because of my weird face. or if they do, like there's a kind of a war going on between retail optometry and all this online sales that are developing apps and ways to get around, ways to get to where they can cut out their local optometrist, including some of the largest lens manufacturers who are investing in these online places, trying to cut out the retail optometrist. That's the way it's going. This is going to be like Uber before long. I mean, a local optometrist is going to be in a tough spot because everybody realizes that a huge chunk of profit goes to the local optometrist that the lens manufacturer wants to put in their own pocket. They're already making the lenses. Now that this online channel exists, they are not dependent on retail anymore. They don't love retail. They're seeing how much profit goes into retail's pocket. They don't like it. So everything is headed towards online. I think it's sad in a way because it puts us as people in the increasingly complicated situation where there's less and less jobs and businesses and things we can do independently that support us in a community. So I really am not a fan of the online sales. But if you find yourself in a hostile local environment where all the optometrists tell you to get lost and try to charge you full price and are not supportive with the exams, which I posted another video, maybe I'll remember to link that below also, why I don't trust optometrist measurements. And that was one of the recent videos that got more dislikes and negative commentary from optometrists who clearly didn't understand my point, which was we have to change with the times. The internet exists now, the word is out, people realize that myopia is not an illness, right? It's not a medical condition. Retail optometry is headed out the door. There's a couple of optometrists that really get upset with me when I say this, but I invest in lens stock. Like I make money. I make way more money off of lens stock than helping anybody reverse the myopia. I'm shooting myself in the foot making these videos, running this website, spending the time helping you reverse your myopia. If I just sit back, I collect way more money off my lens stock, right? So the optometrists that are mad at me really don't get the fact that I am making money off of your sales work, right? Like this Endmyopia thing is basically the flip side of it where I'm saying, okay, like for the smart people who don't want to wear glasses, this is why. So I don't understand why optometrists are mad at me because I invest in that business and I'm supportive of that business. I get a bunch of income from that business. So me saying I don't trust optometrist measurements is saying I don't trust the old school, old-timey way of not involving the customer, of not letting the customer make informed choices about their lens wear, of not working together with the customer to say, okay, if you wear these distance glasses during close-up, something called hyperopic defocus happens that probably increases your myopia. And there are lots of optometrists who know this. Like if you stop by the Facebook group or a forum, you'll have many reports of people going to optometrists who understand this, who support this, who involve their customers in the measurement process, who involve their customer in the decision-making progress. And I'm all for that. And I think if retail optometry was an individual concern of mine, not just making money off of lenses, I would absolutely say optometry needs to go towards a more service-based business. Like instead of just profit from quickly selling lenses, finding ways to make money off of the value add of working with the customer. But that's neither here nor there. Basically what I'm saying is if the people around you are hostile, if you take 2 days from the week and visit 10 optic shops and make a good pitch, bring some donuts, some coffee, say, hey, look, I'm here because glasses give me headaches. I need the minimum amount of diopters for my computer distance and I need the minimum amount of diopters for my distance vision. Correct me to 20/20, 20/30, 20/20 in artificial light, close enough, right, for distance vision. And if they say yes to that, that's all. You can get your driver's license with 20/40, I believe, in the US. So there's no legal requirement. There's no medical requirement. There's no any kind of requirement for them to correct you to 20/10, right? 20/30, for example, perfectly acceptable. There's no rule that says they can't do that. Again, because the government, for example, the US government says you can legally drive at 20/40. So you don't need more. So for an optometrist to say, no, I'm not going to work with you, well, then you go somewhere else. But you find a supportive optometrist, you get to whatever, 20/20, 20/30, and you get close-up glasses and they work with you. Remember, don't waste their whole day. They don't make that much profit. But in a reasonable time span, you buy a lot of glasses from them, you build that relationship, you're involved in the community. That would be my way to go, right? So that's number one. Number one option is that, and just make a deal with them. Number two option is buy raw lenses online, go to a chain store, have them cut them for you. You still get the benefit of trying on frames, you still get the benefit of being able to exchange stuff with a lower cost of just cutting out a lot of the lens profit. And then the third option is to buy online. Right, the only unwise option is to go in there and say, give me whatever you want, because then you get maximum correction and possibly progressing myopia. That's my take on this. If you enjoyed this video, if you like this kind of content, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that this is useful. Leave comments. I try to read comments, even though sometimes painful, but especially if you have productive comments or skeptical comments, whatever it is that's productive in this conversation, I love to read them. And then see you in the next one.